I've come across a lot of questions. So I'm going to go through some of my groups and I'm going to, hi Bonnie, and I'm going to, if you guys have questions, hi Lisa. Mostly I just wanted to hang out with you guys on a Friday night because my director of operations, Sarah, just sent me a sweet mind map of all of my funnels. And I thought, hey, we kind of know what we're doing. So let me be of service and let me help you guys. And I don't really have anything prepared, but I thought I would just go through my groups and answer some questions because there are a lot of questions because it's a tricky time of year. It's a time of year where you kind of really want to relax, and it's also the time of year where you're like in hustle and grind mode because you know that January is coming up, and it doesn't really matter what what niche you're in. We're all in the health industry. What niche you're in, because January and February are a big time. I remember when I used to work in the gyms, like December would be like dead in the gyms, but like the staff would be all frenzied and working really hard to make sure that they have everything ready to go, like for 12:01 a.m. January 1st. So if you guys, I'm gonna be here. I'm here. I'm here to answer your questions. No question is a stupid question. So it doesn't matter if you are just beginning or you're super advanced. If you have questions about launching online business, whatever it is, please post them in the chat. And yeah, the chat, I think you might have to be on my business page, which is Lori Kennedy RHN. But nevertheless, I am going to, okay, so I'm just going to answer some questions. So if you guys have questions, do me a favor and type them in. So Andrea says that she's overwhelmed. She signed up for Aweber and is struggling to put out her first email so that she can build her list. It took me 3 hours to send my first welcome to my business email with newsletter sign up and a welcome response. Based on that, I signed up for the Ziggy Media. Amazing. It's now requesting that I sign up for ClickFunnels and Active Campaign. Okay, so here's the deal. Let's talk about what you actually need, okay? So if you have Aweber, then you do not need Active Campaign because Active Campaign and Aweber are the same thing. So Andrea specifically, I know you're probably not watching this right now, but before you go and you sign up for anything, have a conversation with them. They're amazing. They're amazing guys. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I did a webinar today with Ziggy Media, and I have partnered with them. They're Toronto based. They're amazing. I've known them since high school. Which was a long time ago, despite the fact that I look 16. And they're basically saying you need to sign up for this, that, and the other thing. You don't. You just need to have a conversation. So here's what you guys really need when you're, let's say, in your first year or two of running your online business. You either need Aweber or Active Campaign. Those two things are your email marketing platforms. If you have those two things and you're totally bootstrapped, you do not need anything else. You do not need lead pages. You do not need ClickFunnels. You do not need Entreport or Infusionsoft or MailChimp. Please don't use MailChimp, like ever. You don't need any of that stuff. Active Campaign or Aweber does it all for you. You can have your opt-in pages and your thank you pages. Actually, that's not true. You can't have sales pages. So if you don't have a website or if you don't have anything and you want to put together a sales page, then yes, you would either need ClickFunnels or lead pages. Oh, batteries. I was like, oh, my phone's plugged in because my battery was dying. So you need either Aweber or Active Campaign. Those two things are your email marketing platforms. If you do not have a website where you can create some type of sales page, some type of like work with me page, then yes, you would also need to buy something like lead pages or ClickFunnels or a website, right? Then you don't need that stuff. But I recommend ClickFunnels or lead pages. So you need those two things: an email marketing platform and a self-hosted platform like a website or ClickFunnels or lead pages, and that is basically all you need. So if someone's telling you otherwise, I wouldn't buy into that because you don't need anything more than that. So I will answer her question in the Facebook group. Okay, let's go to another question. If you guys have questions, and you're watching and you have questions, please type them into the chat because I'm happy to answer them. Okay, hi. Is it possible to FB live stream from my personal page, FB biz page, and my FB community simultaneously? So Denise, yes, because I'm doing that right now. So basically, for those of you who are into Facebook live streaming, what you would do is you would do exactly what I did. You would start on your business page. So I have the Pages app on my phone. I went into the Facebook Pages app. I typed in live launch Q&A. And then I went live on my business page, and I had to take a minute or two. I had to go to, you can see here, I can just flip screen, Facebook. So you can see that I went to Facebook. And basically I shared it to all the pages that I want. So you can share to your personal page, you can share to your groups. So basically, but you have to do it one at a time. So it's a little bit like, it's a little ugly because you're just like, you've just logged on live and you're like all excited and the people are joining. And then you're like, please hold. And you have to like turn your attention away, or you can have like someone else basically do it for you. But yes, you absolutely can. And it's pretty awesome that you can, right? So you can get all of your Facebook, properties, although you don't really own them, which is why you need to build your email list. But you can get all your Facebook properties in one shot. So that's pretty awesome. Let's see, next question. Oh, this was a good one. Okay, so this is in the Wellness Business Hub. And so there was a post that says, wondering if anyone else in business has or had this ongoing issue. Now that I'm doing my year end, I'm looking at my ratio of bookings to actual paid clients. Over the course of the year, I've had a lot of bookings, blah, 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 but out of every 100 bookings, 15% or less actually follow through. So she was operating at a deficit. And so she's thought about going to strictly book and pay at the same time with a credit card so the losses can be recouped. Has anyone else dealt with this issue? It's a good idea. Is it a good idea to actually just have the client pay up front when booking in order to ward off those that don't bother to show up? So there's a lot of comments on here, and I'll just read you some because there's really good ideas. Have them sign a cancellation policy. She says that they already did that. Do you see your clients by person or in phone, in person only? Do you remind them of the appointment? So she says, the person that wrote this comment said, yes, if they book through my online schedule, they are texted, emailed a reminder the day before and 2 days before their appointment. Plenty of opportunities to cancel and change. So my question to her, which I don't know if she actually answered, let's see. Okay, so I said, do you have some type of nurture sequence? Do you have some type of personal communication with these people versus just like an automated generic text or email? Because that's not really personal, and it's really easy to not show up. It's really easy to not show up for a health appointment when the last thing that you want to do is actually make changes, right? Unless the person is, hit their enormous rock bottom, the desire to stay the same is likely stronger than the desire to actually change. And so if you don't have some type of onboarding, indoctrination, nurture sequence where they actually get to know you as a person, hi JR, where they actually get to know you as a person before coming to sit in front of you, they're less likely to not show up. So her response was that some of the people were clients that she's had for a few years. Other are clients that are brand new. When it's a brand new client, I call them and talk to them for a couple minutes at their convenience to ascertain what they are looking to achieve through me. I do remind them by text, phone, and email reminders, but I cannot fathom this year alone that this is happening. I did notice that a competitor moved into the area a few months ago when the no-shows got really bad. I found their phone numbers among the no-shows at different times booked. Seems some people are desperate for clients. yes, then I would absolutely implement some type of payment where it's not a huge fee, maybe something like $20, or raise the price, because you know that if somebody's going to pay to reserve their spot, basically it's a booking fee. If somebody's going to pay to reserve their consultation, where if they decide to move forward, that fee could then be contributed to the general program. You know, then that's exactly what I would do. If they're clients, they should absolutely be charged for the appointments. Like, you should not be taking on clients that aren't in packages anyway. Wink, wink. Don't ever sell one-off sessions, because you're going to run into a deficit. If you're selling one-off follow-up sessions and the person's booked in for a follow-up session and you don't have their credit card on file, you're screwing yourself, basically. So you don't necessarily, you don't want to do that. So you want to, even if it's a follow-up session, you need to sell them a package of 4. Like, I had a maintenance package where I sold no less than 4 sessions at a time. They paid up front. They had up to, I think it was 4 months to use them. So basically they would come in once a month. They could use them once a week. It didn't matter to me. But the sessions expired after 4 months. They paid for them in full up front. So whether they canceled or not, I still got paid. Of course you want them to show up, but you know what, like, you can only do what you can do. And I think in terms of getting people to show up, what you want to go back to is the goal. What you want to go back to is the big reason why they're there in the first place. Because the sort of surface level pain doesn't mean shit, right? It's the underlying reason. It's the underlying motivation. It's the thing that they look in the mirror and cry over. That's what's going to get them into your office. So if you're not, I'm going to use the word like hounding them about this and being like, hey, like, your session's coming up, we're still far away from the goal. Last time you had this challenge, we're going to work on this stuff. Like, it's really important to be as on top of them and as personal and connected as possible. But I would absolutely, there's a lot of comments here. This is a really good thread. I would absolutely then start charging a booking fee, where you can make it very clear that, this is what you do and this is who you're looking to work with. And this is a reservation fee. And then if you decide to move forward in any of my packages, then the fee will be applied, right? Or what you can do is if they show up, you refund them the fee, right? If they don't decide to do it, it's fully refundable. So there's really no risk to them. It's just a guarantee because you take your time seriously. And that's also a shift in how you hold yourself, right? To be able to say, no one sees me without paying because I value my time. And if you value your health, you will be happy to pay $25 to come sit in front of me, right? Otherwise, when you show up and you decide this isn't right for you, I'll happily refund you, or we'll apply it to one of the programs that you're going to invest in so that you can transform your health. So that's what I would do personally. The next question is about webinars. Who uses what services? So webinars, there's a lot of different stuff about webinars. You can use Zoom. That's what we use now. I was using GoToWebinar. I canceled it. Zoom Webinar, I should say, is more expensive than GoToWebinar. GoToWebinar is $100 a month. If you're not going to be doing webinars consistently, then I don't think it's worth it. You can use a platform called Instant Teleseminar. Instant Teleseminar, I think it's $40 or $60 a month. And the benefit about Instant Teleseminar is that it is self-hosted, meaning that after you're done your webinar, they will give you a link to send people to watch the replay. You literally don't have to do anything, which is awesome, versus GoToWebinar or Zoom, where you have to convert the recording, then you have to upload it to Vimeo or YouTube, then you have to make a replay page, and there's a whole bunch of steps that you need to go into. Whereas Instant Teleseminar, it's hosted for you. It also can do phone calls, so you can use it for your private clients. It's recorded. It gives them a link. You don't have to do a thing. It's really super handy. It's super easy to use. And that's what I recommend that you use if you're just starting out with webinars, is Instant Teleseminar. Okay. Does any of you guys watching, do you guys have questions? If you guys have launch questions like dates or early birds or bonuses or whatever, please go ahead and type it into the chat. Let's see. Question on here's another one. Question on prepayment from clients. Does anyone know how to hold a payment or a credit card information for a client consultation via PayPal? No, you cannot hold a credit card. You have one. Okay, go ahead, Melanie. You cannot hold credit cards in PayPal. What you can do is you can ask them to enter their credit card information on a confidential form, and that way it's reserved. But I would just charge it and then refund it. That's what I would do. It's the easiest thing. If you're holding credit cards, you need liability, you need all this like confidentiality stuff, you need a secure server, like it's a whole other ridiculous mess. So you cannot hold credit cards. Legally, you're not allowed to take prepayments in Quebec. Okay, so I would just get them to like, that's interesting, but it's only billed on the deposit if she doesn't show up to the session. Well, you're not taking, I guess you can't really charge them then. Then I would look into, I know that you can get some type of merchant account. You can get merchant account through like Elavon or Chase or any of those things, which that would give you the ability to hold credit cards. That's what I would do. Okay, so Melanie says, super brand new, no worries. Have a lead magnet that I'm using to grow my email list. It's been live for 12 days. Okay. And I'm hoping you're continuing to type because I don't see a question there. I'm just looking to see if there's any other good questions. I'd like to launch a program in January. When is the best time to start promoting that? Okay, so that's actually a really good question. So thank you for asking that. I was hoping somebody would ask me that question. So what you want to do when you're launching is you want to think of your launch in phases. And this might be way too much for you, so take what resonates and just earmuff the rest. And also, do I send that to the list I have now? Yes. So you want to think about having phases of your launch. So the first phase of your launch is what we're calling pre-launch content. This is what I teach in the Wellness Business Academy. This is what I teach to all my students. So it's pre-launch content. This is content that you put out before your shopping cart is open, meaning there's a period of time, let's say usually 7 to 10 days, depending on how high value your product is, that people can enroll or register and pay you money. There's a transaction happening. That is called open cart or launching. When we say launching, that's what specifically we're referring to is the people, like, yes, pre-launch is like a teaser. So launching refers to specifically open cart where people can enroll and pay you money. So what you want to think about is having a period of time, usually 2 weeks, prior to the launch, the open cart, where you're putting out really good content, like good blog posts and maybe doing Facebook live streams and social media. What are you writing about? What is the content about? You're basically overcoming all the objections and you're building authority. So Melanie, what is your niche? Who is your ideal client? And then I can give you some specific examples. So as Melanie is typing and telling me who her niche is and who her ideal client is, you want to have about 2 weeks of pre-launch content. And then you want to go into an open cart period for probably about 10 days. If your product is under, let's say, $500, you want to go, or your program is under $500, you really only need 10 days. And then you close the cart. You have to close the cart. You have to either increase the price, you have to take away the bonuses, there has to be some type of very final deadline in order to get people to take action. We think people should just be like, oh my God, this is what they've needed forever. It is, but we all love a sale and we all need a reason to buy. It's just buyer psychology. It's the way that it works. Hi, Sylvia. Melanie's saying nutrition for fertility, pregnancy, and postpartum. Okay. So basically, I'm just going to pull things out of the top of my head, right? One of the things that you're going to do pre-launch content about is the fear around, the drugs like IVF, what if it doesn't work, the money, spending all the money, that's one thing you should highlight. Like you should do a post about how much it costs to go pharmaceutical, right? Versus natural, right? So that you can compare. You could do a post about what it's actually like to work with a nutritionist or an alternative health practitioner versus going the allopathic route. You can do a post about what it feels like from an emotional perspective, about not being able to be pregnant, about being asked when you're going to have a baby and all of that stuff. So you're creating content that really speaks to your ideal client's desires, their dreams. You're hitting their emotional triggers. You're getting them excited. You can even tease it out a little bit and be like, I have something coming for you in a couple of weeks. You're going to love it. Stay tuned. You're getting them super pumped. You're building your authority. You're being consistent. You're showing up all the time prior to inviting them into transformation. So I would start that now. And then, and then basically, because we're talking January, depending on where you live, you want to check when the kids go back to school, and you want to open your launch cart about a week after. So in my neck of the woods, kids go back to school, I think on the 9th. So basically I would, the 9th or the 6th, hold on, let me look. Where'd my calendar go? Hold on. Kids go back to school on the 9th, which is a Monday. So you could start on the 11th, which is a Wednesday, or I would just wait to the following week because that first week back at school is nuts. So I would wait to the following week. So like the week of the 16th is a good time to like actually open cart and open enrollment. So I would not start your launch the day that children go back to school. You either start it sort of like January 1, if that's the theme. If it's not the theme and you just want to get on the bandwagon because people are like excited and they're motivated and whatever, I would wait the week after the kids go back to school. So I would do pre-launch content now. I would sit down with a calendar and I would literally map out what you're going to be posting on social media every day, what blogs you're going to be doing. If you're into Facebook Live, I would schedule that all out. Having a schedule is an absolute must. If you're going to launch and it is and you don't have a list and a schedule, don't bother. Honestly, with all due respect, like there's one, I am the wing it girl. Like I wing most things, but when it comes to launching, you need to have a schedule and you need to do as much of the work up front as you can, writing all the blogs, writing all the emails. It's a lot of content that you need to be creating when you're launching. It's stressful in and of itself, especially if you're doing it for the first time. It's so stressful. I always tell people, launching for the first time, the whole point of doing it is just to actually get it done. Like if you make any sales at all, that's like a bonus. It's amazing. But launching for the first time, especially if you don't have an email list, the whole point of it is just to get her done. That's it. Just pat yourself on the back. You got it done. You launched your product online. Not many, like it might seem to you that loads of people are doing this, but trust me, they're not. It's just because you're in the bubble. So you are the part of the 1% that's actually got the damn thing launched, which is amazing. And it only gets better from there, right? Because then you iterate, you grow your list, you launch again. It's easier the second time, the third time, all the content's already done. You don't have to rewrite it. It's amazing. How much of a list is needed? It's not needed. It depends. It's not needed. I just want you to be realistic. If you don't have any type of following at all, like if you're brand spanking new, then just have the right expectations. Just do it to get it done. Share it on social media. Email all your families, your family and friends. I haven't been drinking, I swear. Your family and friends, and let them know what you're doing. Ask them to share it. Ask them to share it to people who maybe they personally know are struggling with fertility or are thinking about having a baby. Be very specific in your asks. Reach out to the people that know you and love you and support you and ask them to share it, right? I don't want to say how much of a list is needed. I know I had a friend who said that, who got some advice from some really like guru people, and they were like, don't even bother launching until you have a list of 1,000 people. And I'm like, bullshit. Just launch it. Who cares? Like, launch it to launch it. Like, just get it done. Put it out into the world. If nobody buys it, that doesn't mean that it's a failure because you got it done. Most people don't even reach that point. I know it's hard to believe, but it's true. Most people don't even launch anything. They just go around in circles. So kudos if you're actually going to get it launched. And once it's launched, then you can switch gears and you can start doing more things to get your message out into the world. You can do local speaking events. You can be interviewed on podcasts. You can do Facebook Lives. There's a tremendous amount of things that you can do to build up your community and your following. But if you're like almost at the finish line and your program is done, just launch the sucker into the world. Because you don't know who's going to see it. You don't know who's going to share it. Maybe you'll have 3 people sign up and 3 of those people are going to end up getting pregnant and they're going to be like your raving testimonials. Like, you've no idea. So just continue to take inspired action, continue to take imperfect action, and don't necessarily worry about if you make sales or you don't make sales. I always sort of go into it like, I have a low number and I have a high number, right? Those are the goals. When I launch anything, I have a low number, which is like so low, and then I have a high number. So I hope that helped. Did that answer your question? Imperfect action. Yeah, and you know what, like I said, remember, launching it for the first time, it's just giving you a deadline. That's it. That's the whole reason that you're doing it, is just to get it out into the world. That's it. Okay, let me do one more question. Good, awesome. Okay. Does anybody have any other launching questions? I'm just looking through my groups. Wow, we really need to like get on this. Okay, block some people. We should talk about Facebook group etiquette. Don't promote your shit in other people's Facebook groups. I'm sure you all know that, but it's really infuriating, actually. Okay. I'm just scrolling through. And if anybody has any questions... Oh, here's one. Anyone used SurveyMonkey and MailChimp to send an online survey? So I use Google Forms, and the reason that I like Google, like if you go into Google Drive, there's an option to create a form, and the reason that I like the form is because you can actually set up a spreadsheet of responses, versus like I once used SurveyMonkey and all those other things, and it was like reading the responses was beyond. And I didn't really like it. So with Google Forms, you can basically have as many questions as you want. It's free, which is awesome. It's really super easy to use. And then it basically just puts all of the responses into a spreadsheet for you. So you can even categorize them. You can do whatever you want. So if you're looking to send a survey to your list, which I highly recommend that you do, use Google Forms because it's free and it's easy. And they actually have, if you want to even set up your online intake forms, Google actually has a HIPAA and a FIPA, I don't remember what it's called, for the Canadian one, a confidential plug-in part where you can actually create confidential forms online, which is amazing. Okay, so I think that's it for tonight. I've gone for about half an hour. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for entertaining me and hanging out with me on a Friday evening. If you're watching on the replay, I hope you had a good day, good night, whenever you're watching. And if you guys have launch questions, hit me up with them. It's one of my most favorite things to talk about because I've launched a couple times. Have a good weekend. We'll talk soon. Bye.